I'm going to give you 3 reasons why we didn't win the Premier League last season. Number 3, Lindelof. We bought him last summer from Benfica for around about £35 million. Cast your mind back to the Huddersfield debacle. Phil Jones got an injury, Lindelof replaced him. He then made 2 mistakes that gifted Huddersfield 2 goals and the win. His performance was nothing short of a disgrace. That's how bad it was. It was single-handedly the worst performance by a new Manchester United player. It was like he replaced the player that we should have bought instead. But he didn't get much criticism for that because he wasn't signed by Moisey or Van Gaal. He made a mistake in the Newcastle game. We eventually won 4-1. I said after the game he should have given a pat on the back to all his teammates for bailing him out. When we had injuries at centre back, he played a couple of games, only because of injuries. And then when those injuries cleared up, he was out of the first 11, in the squad, or out of the squad completely. And for me, he contributed, one of the reasons why we didn't win the league, but he didn't get any criticism throughout the season. I don't get this signing whatsoever, and I think this could be a Philip Luis situation. Chelsea under Mourinho the second time round bought him, and then a year later he had to go because he couldn't adapt to the English game and the culture, so they sent him packing. Our fans had the audacity to compare Lindelof to Vidic. There is no comparison between the two whatsoever. Vidic was signed in January 2006. 7 million from Spartak Moscow. He didn't have a pre-season. He was put into the firing line, making his debut against Manchester City at the Etihad, or the City of Manchester Stadium as it was called back then. Lindelof doesn't have that excuse or that luxury because he was in last summer. He had time to integrate with his teammates and to get to grips with the English game. He's nothing like Vidic whatsoever. He's never going to be a Nemanja Vidic, and I don't see Lindelof at Manchester United long term. I just don't. But I'm blaming him, not solely, but he did contribute to what happened this season, or last season now. Number 2, Fellaini's injury. Our fans conveniently forget, and I'm talking about Manchester United fans here, that Marouane Fellaini was absolutely superb prior to his injury. But because they're clouded by hate, they didn't want to associate how good Fellaini was. When we beat Crystal Palace by 4-0, Ashley Young assisted him. Those two have a telepathic understanding. They're like the modern version of Andy Cole and Dwight York in that sense. They know exactly what one another are going to do. And that is gold dust as a manager. And I didn't know this, but Ashley Young has assisted most of Marouane Fellaini's goals, which shows their contribution as a partnership. We were top of the Barclays Premier League, and Mourinho said in his first press conference, or second, or after the game, that he's going to make us love Marouane Fellaini. He turned Marouane Fellaini around. He's got so many strings to his bow. He was playing the best football of his footballing career. You can play him from the start, or you could bring him off the bench. But that injury he got in a meaningless game for Belgium crippled his season. We could have won the league if it wasn't for that injury. He was that good. And it's a shame for him. A damn shame. If that didn't happen, Fellaini could have got a lot more goals. So it's a shame for him. But injuries happen, but the injury he got could have been avoided. There was no need for Roberto Martinez, that cretin, to play him in that game. Especially with the conditions in that game, i.e. the weather. And the first one, top of the tree, top of the list, the Manchester City game at home. The moment we lost that game, the title was done. Man City had virtually won the league. They dominated the game. Ander Herrera's performance in that game was nothing short of a disgrace. His cheating, dirty tactics, diving, trying to win a penalty kick, which was never a penalty kick, by the way. It was a disgusting dive. People ban on about, oh, the United way. So is diving the United way? Because if you look it up, only Ashley Young has dived. And he got ridiculed for that. But Herrera doesn't get ridiculed for that because his name's not Marouane Fellaini. Romelu Lukaku gifted Man City 2 goals, making an assist for Otamendi, for David Silva in the first half and Otamendi in the second half. You probably don't know this, but Romelu Lukaku has got less goals than Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy's got more league goals in him, but he doesn't get any criticism for that. That's not to say that Jamie Vardy is a bad player. He's a very good Premier League player. He's proven that. But Lukaku should have got more goals in him. And in that game, I thought Mourinho, before it, would have a tactical plan to stop Manchester City. But all we did was hoof the ball forward. And it's ironic, isn't it? And it's funny as well, doing a Nigel Farage there, that apparently, when Marouane Fellaini's in the team, we only play long ball. If you watch that game back, that's all we did. Hoof it to Romelu Lukaku. That's all we did. Nothing more than that. We might not have won the game, but if we got a draw, the title race would have still been within reach. Fellaini didn't play in that game. In 6 of our 7 defeats this season, Marouane Fellaini didn't play them. He played in the Brighton game, but we already had second place sewn up after we beat the scum at Old Trafford by 2-1, with Rashford getting a double. And Man City didn't look back after that, and they deserved to be champions. They've accumulated 100 points, and they are, without doubt, one of the best Premier League teams of all time. I'll have that argument with anybody, because nobody's accumulated those 100 points, and that for me shows their class. It shows how good they've been, and with a 19-point gap, we're not going to bridge that gap next season. But last season we were terrible. 19 points behind, 20 if you include the goal difference. Not a very good season for us. A failure for Jose Mourinho and our players and the team in general. So those are my 3 reasons. You might agree, you might disagree. So feel free in the comments below. Tell me your 3 reasons. Maybe you have 4, maybe you have 5. Maybe you're thinking you should have added a 4th and a 5th. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments if you want to. Thanks for watching, and that's it.